Well, I'm back tuning into today's video. We're going to do outlook for the next 8 to 10 days in today's video, which will be taking us towards the end of April into the start of May, actually up to the 2nd of May with this video. It looks like it's going to be quite unsettled with a trough of low pressure around the country and some sort of blocking feature up around Green. So relatively cool and quite unsettled is the outlook as we go through to the end of the month and into the start of the new month. Now, before I get on with the video, I'll just mention the advertising this video ads on my pages at GazWebBiz.com. You press play and watch the video ad, you'll be supporting GazWebBiz.com. Thanks very much for doing that. It helps pay for the website, essentially. So thanks for getting involved and helping to support GazWebBiz.com. So we'll start off with the 500 millibar height anomaly flowchart. So the next 8 to 10 days time, got the ECMWF here over on the left. GFS is over on the right. 500 millibars, 80,000 feet is where we've got high pressure, low pressure being moved around by the jet stream running above. The blue curves extrapolate to below average heights, which is low pressure. The orange and red curves extrapolating to above average heights, which is high pressure. So we see that for for 8 to 10 days time, we've got a trough of low pressure here sitting over the British Isles on the ECMWF, quite a deep trough actually, within the 500 millibar flow, definite area of low pressure there. And we've got some sort of blocking feature with those orange colours sitting around Green and extending out in towards Canada. The GFS is very similar, actually, but trough around the British Isles is a little bit deeper there, quite a deep trough, dark blue colours, so quite a deep area of low pressure. Again, we've got the above average heights around Greenland, the south of Greenland, extending through Canada, so I've got high pressure up there, which is pushing this trough down across the country. The jet stream more or less running to the south of the country on both the charts, the ECM and the GFS more or less got the jet stream to the south of the country, so we're more or less on the cool side of the jets with a blocking feature around Greenland and a trough of low pressure. It's not going to be great, if that's right, I have to say. The GFS ensemble, rainfall and temperature ensemble shows you'll not be surprised from seeing that trough of low pressure sitting over the country, that we're going to have plenty of rainfall spikes coming up. Not a complete and total washout, we're not seeing huge spikes except perhaps around the 26th of April when it does look particularly wet, but it's just generally unsettled really here with regular sort of spikes coming through on most days, indicating there'll be showers, longer spells of rain. Yeah, not a total washout, not trench rain day after day, but I think it will be generally really quite unsettled, and that goes on actually beyond the 1st of May. This is the 1st of May just here, and the precipitation spikes are extending out throughout the chart really, showing that we're in for probably quite a prolonged spell of relatively unsettled conditions. Temperature on ensemble is a little bit different, because the red line here, where we should be at this time of year, of course, is going to be a little bit above average over the next few days. Maybe going to trend down more towards average, maybe going a little bit below right at the end of the month. And as we get through to the first week of May, a lot of scatter, but perhaps a suggestion that temperatures might start to pick up a little bit, but really not deviating that far from the seasonal average in terms of the upper air temperatures. If you have a look at the temperature anomaly for the next week, the 22nd to the 30th of April, we see actually the temperature anomaly for the surface is going to be relatively close to average, perhaps a little bit above for the north, a little bit below for the south, but generally it is cooler to the west of Europe. France, Spain, Portugal, generally coming in around or below average, with the warmest anomalies now pushed to the east and the northeast of Europe, so the west definitely in for a cooler spell over the next week, whereas the east and northeast of Europe definitely warmer. The precipitation anomaly, you'll not be surprised from all those rainfall spikes and the trough of low pressure on the 500 millibar height anomaly, showing that we're coming in above average with precipitation for the next week, the 22nd to the 30th of April. We're in those blue colours virtually countrywide, so that is rainfall precipitation anomaly above average. Not desperately above average, not a complete washout, but certainly on the positive side of average. There'll be plenty of unsettled weather coming through. So let's have a look at the generic GFS chart for next week. This is Monday the 28th of April, and it's the idea that we had on the height anomaly chart, really, with the high pressure up there over Greenland. That's a proper area of high pressure sitting over central and southern parts of Greenland. A trough of low pressure sitting underneath it around British Isles. And this is a problem if you get northern blocking, particularly in summer. You tend to get a trough of low pressure which sits underneath it around British Isles. So whenever there's high pressure around Greenland or to the north of Scandinavia, in summer you'll tend to get a corresponding trough because of the warmth in the atmosphere underneath it sitting around British Isles. So that's why northern blocking is never a good sign in summer. So that's the idea that we start next week with blocking around Greenland, a trough of low pressure around British Isles, keeping it unsettled and relatively cool. Not cold, but relatively cooler than we've had through most of April. We've been running around 2 degrees above average through April. We've been running around 2 degrees throughout the whole of 2014 so far, and we'll have a look at the centering temperature probably later in the week, but I think it will be a little bit cooler next week than we've been used to. No great changes as we go through to Tuesday the 29th. The trough, quite a deep trough actually, at 985 millibars, is still there across the country, still that high pressure up over Greenland. So yeah, it's basically a case that showers or longer spells of rain, and temperature's not particularly exciting. The low pressure there over the country through Wednesday the 30th as we go on to day 10, Friday the 2nd of May. Still the same idea really, the low pressure's over us, although maybe it's weakening and perhaps signs that blocking over Greenland and Canada is beginning to break down as well, although the models do tend to break down blocking in the extended range much quicker than can actually occur. So there's got to be a little bit of doubt about that, whether that blocking does ease off later next week. But nevertheless, it's the same idea really, with the trough over the country keeping it relatively unsettled. And we'd have to watch out for this area of low pressure around the Azores, because that could just reinforce things if it was to run northwards and eastwards. Of course, this is right at the start of the bank holiday weekend. If you're interested in what the weather may do for the May Day bank holiday, come back tonight to the events page. I'll do another video for the May Day bank holiday weekend tonight. So if you've got anything planned for May Day, come back and see what is going on the events page this evening around 7 o'clock. Here's the EWF at the start of next week, and again it's the same idea. We've got the blocking up over Greenland, we've got the trough of low pressure over the British Isles, so it's going to be unsettled. Temperatures won't be particularly exciting either. As we go through towards the middle of next week, no real changes. The low pressure sits there over the country, keeping it unsettled with showers and longer spells of rain. We've still got the blocking up over Greenland, and actually it could turn a little bit more unsettled through the middle of next week with that low pressure around Ireland, perhaps just reinforcing things and bringing another band of rain through. But don't take the chart too seriously. It's just really the trend that's interesting, which is that it will be unsettled and quite cool to end April. As we go through to day 10, which is the 2nd of May, well, just the suggestion that we're pushing that trough of low pressure away to the east and perhaps building in some sort of ridge out to west. Notice the blocking over Greenland is starting to break down as well, but as I say, there's always a question mark about how quickly northern blocking is broken down by the models in the extended range. But if that's right, perhaps just the signs that although it'll be cool, it may be starting to settle down as we go through towards the bank holiday weekend, although this trough of low pressure in the central part of the Atlantic is a very deep one, and that could very easily run in and flatten this ridge off and turn us unsettled through the bank holiday weekend. So we'll leave the bank holiday weekend for tonight. As I say, there'll be an update on the events page around 7 o'clock. But before we get to the bank holiday, we're basically in for quite an unsettled spell. Low pressure as a trough is going to be sitting around the country. We're going to have high pressure up over Greenland as some sort of northern blocking feature. Good job it's not winter, good job it's the end of April and not the end of January, because this would be a perfect scenario to deliver snow across many parts of the country and really quite cold weather. So good job it is later on in the year. But basically it's going to be unsettled and relatively cool. That's the outlook, I think, as we go through to the end of April and into the first days of May. As to what happens for the May Day bank holiday weekend, come back tonight and we'll have a look at it. That's it for now. Hope you found the video interesting. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.